Welcome back to Fantasy Football. Today we're talking tight end rankings for 2023. That's right, we're starting to look ahead to next season and get you set with some decisions that you might have to make on draft day. So these lists will change, but here's Heath's top 12 tight ends for next year as it stands right now. No surprise, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews at the top. Once you get past those two, though, it's going to be different, I think, for all of us. But the one that always is going to stand out to me, Kyle Pitts. He's still going to be a top 10 tight end. Dave's top 12 list as well. You guys both like Greg Dulcich. That's a great call. I should probably adjust my rankings to put him in there somewhere. I have Cole Kmet. That's probably the one thing that differs for me when it comes to my top 12 at the end. Hopefully, he's still going to be a big part of this Bears offense for next season. But let's talk about a few of these topics here, and the big one is the aging wonder. Travis Kelce still continues to get it done despite his advanced age in his early 30s. But the question is always going to become, is this going to be the point where he starts to fall off? He's just so dominant by compared to everybody else. So it's just easy to say Travis Kelce number one. And when should he be drafted in redraft league next year?
It's easy to say he's number one at tight end because he could lose like a third of his points from this year and still be number one at tight end this year. You see, he had almost a 6-point edge over TJ Hawkinson. I won't take him in the top 5 picks. I don't think I'm going to take him in the top 6. I think it's somewhere in that 7 to 10 range is where I'm going to have Travis Kelce. And that's only because Father Time is undefeated. At some point, the drop-off's going to start.
In half PPR, he's had under 10 fantasy points 3 of his past 5 games. I wonder if he doesn't have a big game in Week 18 and he doesn't have a big game in the playoffs, are people going to start to get freaked out about Travis Kelce and saying, it's hitting now, this is your warning sign, don't take him with a first-round pick. I'm not sure if I'm going to take him with a first-round pick, but I said the same thing at this time last year, and guess what he was? He was a first-round pick for me by the time I got to August.
And if you listened to our show earlier this week and you listened to our podcast host, Adam Azer, said he should go number 1 overall. So he's just such a difference at that position that you might want that advantage. Why should we believe in Mark Andrews again, Heath?
Because in this disaster of a season in which he's missed multiple games partially due to injury, he's still 4th in terms of fantasy points per game, 3rd in terms of overall fantasy points. And it's been an absolute disaster. Things will not be this bad next year unless they get rid of Lamar Jackson and tank for a year.
See, I almost, okay, now when you say it like that and tank for a year, that means that they don't do anything at quarterback or
They're not taking for you.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're the type of franchise that does. I was getting ready to say that he's in a no-lose situation. If they franchise tag Lamar Jackson, Lamar's healthy for next year, he's still the top target in the passing game. If they replace Lamar Jackson, they're not going to do it with some weenie off the street. They're going to have a decent quarterback. He'll still be the top target there in that offense. But if it is a weenie off the street, I'm going to be a little bit nervous about Mark Andrews being number 2 on the list.
All right, the big question, Kyle Pitts. We've been waiting for it for 2 seasons. His rookie year, okay, 1,000 yards receiving, but only 1 touchdown. Second year this year, suffered the knee injury, didn't finish the year. Bad quarterback play again for both those seasons. So is 2023, his 3rd year in the NFL, going to be the year that separates him and finally he has that breakout season?
I thought you were going to say, is it going to be the year we finally don't overdraft him? That's what I'm hopeful for. I think he will be a mid-range starting tight end, maybe a low-end starting tight end, depending on what his quarterback situation is. If it stays the same and they go in with Desmond Ridder, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London on the Atlanta Falcons, then I don't think he'll be a top 8 tight end for me. He'll still be in the top 12. He has too much talent not to be.
I agree for the most part. I'm wondering who, like you said, who the quarterback's going to be. But I still have long-term trust issues with Evan Engram, with Zach Ertz, with Darren Waller. And so when I get to that point after my first 5 tight ends, when I get to number 6, who is it? You got to go with the upside of Pitts there.
Hope so. Hope Desmond Ridder's the key. Hope maybe Arthur Smith realizes the talent that he has. We'll find out a lot this offseason when it comes to the Falcons. We'll talk a lot about that and more on our Fantasy Football Today podcast. We have you covered. We already got our offseason schedule, so we're going hard starting next week when it comes to all of your fantasy outlooks for the 2023 campaign, as well as this week. For Heath, for Dave, I'm Jamie. Thanks for watching Fantasy Football Today.